in Omonia.
And we called taxi, and I put Kilian, I opened the door behind, I put him in the taxi, and I closed the door, and I want to go inside, and Kilian go out there.
You're gonna get someone messaging you afterwards saying, "Why did you mention me?"
Hey, fuck them.
She say, I cry because you are here today.
Πάμε σιλά καμουφτιά, ωραία, βρεγά, ποτάμισα.
Welcome to another edition of the No Choftes podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, tell your NOUNA, all of that good stuff. We've got a merchandise page. We've now got a Patreon page, but I'm not going to go into that because I'm here to talk to you about a story that broke yesterday, which made me chuckle a little bit. Not because of the circumstances, but because it just goes to show how big this club is. Just goes to show that a club who have had a terrible season on and off the pitch, bad performances, bad results, in the mire, as so many people believe this club is going downhill. But yet one story that breaks involving the club or involving a player, and it's all over the press, isn't it? Yeah, main headline. One of our players, a teenager, wasn't called up to the national team, and that has broken the internet. Ne, es pasando. Delia. Now, okay, as the tagline goes, Loizou has been omitted from the national team. And to be honest, boys and girls, why are people surprised? Why is this such a big deal? Don't get me wrong. Fantastic player for 18 years old. Absolutely fantastic. So much ability. We've seen it. All right, this season, he hasn't been consistent. But who really has been from our team? Let's get it right. Last season, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And you know what? I've said this before. I blame myself as much as most other fans for shooting up to the stars, for giving him all of that praise. And he deserved it. But perhaps I went a little bit overboard. You know, we get excited. You know, top talent. And there, of course, we're going to get excited. Teenager from the academy? Come on. Yeah? But what I will say, yeah, in fact, you know what? Before I carry on, I'm going to bring Roy in here because he's just joining me from his meat wagon. Hello!
Hello!
Look at this Stradioli. Where are you going?
Nabausta Greggiare.
Okay. How you doing?
Not bad, man. Not bad. How you doing? How yourself?
Gala, man. See, my black eye's going down. I still don't know how the fuck it came.
Yeah, we all know, man. We all know that you're Mrs. Dernisere.
Shut up, Ray. I told you this in the strictest confidence. I got you to sign an NDA as well.
We're going live. Sorry, I didn't mean that. I was joking.
Silence, Ray. Fucking hell. Ade, what's going on?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. Really looking forward to this weekend because I had a cold for about a week now, and it's just fucked me up, man. I'm really dizzy. I'm really weak. Like there's no fucking tomorrow, eh? Yeah. Actually, it's been almost 8 or 9 days. I haven't had a single drop of alcohol, man, and that's a lot for me.
You need to have some early nights as well, mate, and you'll be all right. You'll be all right. But listen, I don't know how long you've got on this. Before I say what I have to say, I'm going to wait for you to tell me what you have to say about Loizou being not included from the national team.
And I feel like, I actually don't know how much time I've got because obviously I'm doing this over my phone. So if someone calls me, probably the connection is going to be interrupted. I don't know if there's a big point of discussing about Loizou's not being called for the national team. I would make a more general comment about the need to protect the youngsters. I don't want to make it just about Loizou, if you know what I'm talking about, because yesterday Andreas was on Total Green as well, and he said how it's important for us as fans as well, and especially people like us that have a platform on social media and people watch us, that it's not equally our responsibility, but we also have our own share or like proportion to what's going on. So okay, for me, Loizou not being called for the national team is not the end of the world, you know, and we should see it as that, you know. Definitely, some people might argue that there are players who were worse than Loizou and they got called up, and why did they do that to Loizou? And we're trying to find a scapegoat and say, oh, look, it's the national team and it's their fault. Something that I briefly touched with Chris the other day after the game against AEL for the Cup is I said that Cyprus, first of all, is a country with the highest ratio of foreign players. A. B is we are on average age one of the oldest leagues in when it comes to the age of the average age of the players, you know. So generally there's this lack of trust in youth and academy, and that translates in the national team as well. You can see that the national team's not been doing well. But as a general statement, as I mentioned earlier, is I don't want to make this pod about Loizou because he's already had a lot this season. What I'd like to say is that you know, it's a process. We definitely love seeing kids from the academy, but these kids are very vulnerable to a lot of other things, you know. Όπως τα social media, τη σημασία που πιάνουν, το ψυχολογικό κομμάτι, την πίεση, τις απαιτήσεις που έχει ο κόσμος, που τους παίκτες, και εν καλά να το προσέξουμε και εμείς. You know, last year, let me try and say this in Greek because I think I can explain it a little bit better. Ο Λοΐζος πέρσι βίωσε το ποδόσφαιρο που μια άλλη πλευρά. Ήταν τα πίσκαλα, τα μπράβο, είχε ασυλία, προσέχαμε τον ούλοι σαν το μωρό μας, είδαμε τον με πολλά διαφορετικό μάτι. Και this year he's witnessing football from the flip side. So it's a chance for him to get a balance, να βρει μια ισορροπία through the extremes. Because what he witnessed last year was an extreme, and what he's witnessing this year is another extreme. So sometimes you reach a balance through extremes. What I would like to say is that if Loizou takes this year as a harsh lesson in all aspects, okay, and puts his head down and works, he's going to have another opportunity. Like I said, it's not the end of the world. We should treat him a little bit like an older player, a senior player, and not as a kid that's got special needs, you know. What can we say? I mean, it's easy to point a finger at Loizou, but we don't forget in our squad we had players who won cups in England. We've got players who are internationals and won the Europa League, and we didn't get what we expected from them. So why should we put all the pressure on the blame on a youngster who, at the end of the day, it's not his fault that someone put a price tag on him for 3 million. Let's not forget that that amount was given for a prospect and the potential. He wasn't and then ολοκληρωμένος παίχτης, ο οποίος έπαιξε 7-8 χρόνια, and he proved himself, and that money is what he deserves as a football player. It's the prospect and the potential that they were giving money. So let's just try and back off Loizou and the youngsters. Να μην το κάνουμε και με το Χάμπον τώρα, ας πούμε, φοβούμε το και τούτον, ότι ο Χάμπος να αρκέψουν τα ίδια πράγματα, και εμείς σαν οπαδοί πρέπει να προσέχουμε και να προστατεύσουμε ως κόρη οφθαλμού τούτα τα μωρά που είναι περιουσιακά στοιχεία, και να τους δείξουμε τη συμπαράσταση και την αγάπη μας και την κατανόηση. Don't get me wrong, ce webpesa stimbai dan versi entusiastica, ce woi pa din guvendam din barapano. Ce un legamento. Allah ești periptois cu pradus prosecumen dutus. Pradus prosecumen bolla. That's it from me for now. I'm curious to see what you have to say.
Okay, well, I don't know if you heard at the top of the show, Roy, just as I did the introduction.
I didn't, man. It was when I jumped in.
I was just saying that, you know, he hasn't had a great season, but neither have the rest of the team. So, you know, we can't turn around and say, well, you know, he's been playing bad, so he doesn't deserve to be called up. You know, Zaharil wasn't called up, Safti wasn't called up. So we've got 4 players in the national team. Now, I'm going to come at everyone with facts here because, as I said before, when it involves an Omonia player, everyone loses their shit. And to see many people pissed off that it hasn't been called up, it confuses me a little bit. And the reason why I say this is because when I watch the national team matches on television, the stadium is isn't even half empty. Like, it's like a 10th full. I remember playing the Russia game. There were more Russians than Cypriots in the stadium. And this isn't me taking the piss. It's a fact. So this uproar about Omonia players not being called up to the national team, it confuses me. I understand that it helps boost the player's profile by playing national team games. I get it. But really and truly, first of all, he's 18. So for him to be playing for the national team shows his level. But at the same time, should he not be in the under-19s or the under-21s or the under-7 or under-18s? He actually knows he's 18, so when I said, but he's a national team player, okay? But when I said I'm going to come out...
He was called by or cast for the under-21 or under-19, by the way. Yeah.
Right, okay. Okay, so he's been omitted from the main team, which, okay, fine. Who is Cyprus playing in the under-21s? Who are they playing against?
I forgot. I read it, but it's just slipped my mind.
Okay, so let's get a little bit of perspective here, right? First of all, Cyprus are playing in Estonia. Yeah, that's 2,000 miles away from Cyprus. Okay, you're looking at a 4 or 5 hour flight. Now, don't forget, to go directly to Estonia, you need to fly over Ukraine, but that's not going to happen, obviously. So they're going to have to go around, which you're going to add a couple more hours, right? So the flight, the travel is enough to take it out of people. You're looking at a 6-7 hour flight, which is ridiculous, you know? So that's the other thing. But I'm going to come up with some hard facts here for people to realize what this lad has achieved in 2 years. Now, I'm going to use post-COVID because COVID was the break when the end of the season, and obviously there was a few months and players weren't playing football. So I'm going to go by last season. Last season, Loizou played 36 league games. That involves 20 in the league, 7 in the playoffs, 2 cup. Apology. He played 36 games overall, club, 20 league, 7 playoff, 2 Gibello, 4 Champions League qualifiers, 3 Europa League group games, right? So that's 36 games as a teenager. That's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous amount of games that he played, right? That's just with Omonia, right? If you want to talk about national team from 2020 until now, he played in the World Cup qualifiers against Slovakia, Slovenia, Malta, Russia, Slovakia, Croatia, Malta, and he was on the bench against Croatia. He wasn't in the squad for Russia and Slovenia, which were 2 games back-to-back in the space of 3 days, but he played friendlies against the Czech Republic, Hungary, Ukraine. He played in the Nations League, Montenegro, Azerbaijan, Luxembourg, Azerbaijan again, Montenegro, and he was on the bench against Luxembourg. A total of 52 games between 2020 and 2021. If you want to include some national team games for going into 2021 or the season, like beginning of this season, fine. But 52 games in a calendar year. That's an incredible amount of games. Okay, now let's talk about this season, right? This season, he's played 37 games for Omonia in total. And that's not include. Obviously, there's still more games to play. We've got the rest of the playoffs and potentially the rest of the Gibello. 22 league, 1 playoff. 2 in the Gibello, 4 Champions League, 2 Champions League qualifiers, 4 Europa League qualifiers, 6 Conference League games. You're looking at a kid that has played 89 games in 2 years. So he's knackered. And for him not to be called up to the national team, for me, that's a blessing in disguise. For me. Because at least it gives him a chance to regroup, to rest a little bit, take some time out. And you know, if he wants to go out clubbing, let him. He deserves it. I don't give a shit. Because I was critical of him when I heard stories about him going out this and that, right? But we forget that he's a kid. Not to mention, we don't know about what's going on in his private life. Is he in Estrado? Is he at university? We don't know. Yeah? So everything adds up. I think it's a fantastic decision. Gostanoglu, fair enough, a lot of people are criticizing him. I've been very critical of him, and he deserves it because of the methods that he uses. But on this occasion, I'm fine with it. I'm absolutely fine with it. I think it's a good decision for us. And I think it gives the lad some time to say, right, I need a bit of a fucking break, man, honestly. What do you think?
Yeah, there's definitely this side to it. The amount of games, I didn't know the precise amount of games, but yeah, I expected them to be a lot, maybe not 90 games in total, but I thought they'd be closer to 70, 72, but still it's an amazing amount of games for a youngster. The fact that he wasn't called up, I agree. For me, I don't know what the fuss is all about. You know, we should. I think Loizou will start playing his potential when we stop seeing him as a wonder kid. You know, okay, he wasn't called in the national team. Εντάξει, έναν που έγινε. Ξεκουράστου, λαλείς και εσύ, ηρέμησε, δούλεψε με τον νέο του σο προπονητή, την ομάδα σου. Και εντάξει, εννοώ σου, what's the big deal, man? I don't understand what the big deal is all about. And I said, yeah, tell me.
I don't know. I mean, throughout this season, we've seen a lot of comments, not only within the chat on YouTube, but also on the YouTube page. And some people have been really, really critical of the lad. And again, I think we need to just take a step back here and say, he's 18 years old. How many pro footballers have played that many games as an 18-year-old at the biggest club in this league, right? I'll give you some perspective again, right? Lionel Messi, yeah? His breakout season for Barcelona, the season that really made him stand out, that got him called up, right? With Loizou's breakout season, which was last season, I think we can all agree that was his breakout season, right? As I said, he played 36 games, 52 overall, right? We'll say 36 league games, right? Messi, his breakout season at Barcelona, he played 25 domestic games, which included La Liga, Copa del Rey, and Champions League as well. 25 games for Barcelona, club games in total. He played 4 friendlies for Argentina and 5 games at World Cup 2006. So that's what? 25 plus 9 is 34. So in Messi's breakout season, he played 34 games in total. Loizou has played a little under 20 more. I mean, for crying out loud, man, you know, I get it. He hasn't been great this season. But who has? Who has? So I don't know. I just think we need to lay off him a lot, man. Not just a bit, a lot.
Yeah, man, most definitely. Listen, the expectations from Loizou, from everyone, were maybe a little bit above the ordinary. Okay, for someone who's been following Omonia, you can only compare Loizou to Malekos, who έπαιζε mapa 30 years ago, and Stathis Aloneftis, who played 20 years ago. So seeing a talent break out from the academy of that caliber is something that happens every 15 years, approximately. And the fact that it happened to Loizou in a year where we won the league didn't really help him. In what sense? Is what I said at the beginning. He received all the TLC, the tender love and care, all the attention, την προστασία, την αγάπη, την σημασία, ούλα σε υπερβολικό βαθμό. Εντάξει. In comparison to other youngsters, let's say, for example, Jonis, who his breakout year was 4 years ago with Anastasiou. When that season we ranked 5th or 6th, I can't remember what position we ranked. Yes, people would see the potential of Jonis, but no one would say he's going to become the next best thing, and there wasn't the attention, he didn't get the offers and all of that, the bright lights and the fireworks around him. So the next year with Berg, the first year with Berg, he was injured, he didn't get the attention, he didn't have the development we expected, he was left aside for a little while, then he started playing a few games, then he was benched, so you gradually put someone in the team and then you protect him, because there's a lot of factors there. There's a lot of factors. It's the psychological, it's the pressure, it's the team, it's the manager who believes in you, it's the academy, it's the system you play. Let's not forget that last year Loizou wasn't the first choice for many games, and then he came from the bench, and we played a different style of football. He had more help. Just think of this year, how many times Loizou was playing on the right with Sheu behind him. Sheu wouldn't help him, or he wouldn't push up, and then you'd have the left winger, the left back, and sometimes even the central defender closing him up. What do you expect? What do you expect from this guy? So one more thing. When we had the offer this summer to sell him, a lot of people said, in retrospect and later, it was a bad move that we didn't let him go. For me, it wasn't a bad move to keep him for another year or two. Why? Because the next step could have been with Omonia. There's two different schools of thought. There's one that says, okay, he won the league, he played European football, he became an international player. There was nothing more to gain from the Cypriot League. For me, he could have, especially with Mr. Berg, who believed in him. Okay, I thought that this year he could have improved his numbers, improved the understanding of the game, the physical perspective, become a bit more ομαδικός σαν παίχτης. Πάρα πολλά πράγματα που μπορούσαν να γίνουν. Εντάξει, για να προστάσεις τον Loizou, αλλά επαναλαμβάνω, η φετινή χρονιά για μένα δεν είναι χαμένη για τον Loizou. Είναι ένα σκληρό μάθημα για το τι σημαίνει το ποδόσφαιρο. Δηλαδή πάει from hero to zero in 1 minute. It's harsh, but this is how football is. And
Look at the timing on that. I'll put up Chris's message and Roy's internet fucks up. Nah. Turning into a party now.
No, it's I got a phone call. That's why the internet. And I think that the phone's gonna ring again because I έκλεισα τους το. Τούτα ρε φίλε. This thing, I mean, the money we got for Loizou was for his potential. I think that he can still learn a lot. He's still young. Και που για μένα ρε φίλε, εντάξει, πρέπει να ησυχάσουμε όλοι που γύρω. Και είναι τα social media, είναι η αναγνώριση, μπορεί οι κορούες που φτιάχνει έξω, μπάσχει για πράγματα που δεν ξέρουμε ρε φίλε. Αλλά we should start treating Loizou as a grown up. Και εντάξει, έμπαιζες καλά, you're gonna be benched. There's nothing more to it, Why should we exaggerate things? We exaggerate things. Okay, go work your ass off, work hard, try hard, and you're gonna have your τις ευκαιρίες σου.
But I think he's doing that anyway. And okay, fair enough. A national team manager has only got a certain amount of players to select for a couple of games, and he's chosen not to select Loizou, and I'm sure he's got his reasons. And yeah, while it's disappointing for the lad, I'm not shocked, but I'm just baffled as to what the fuss is about. I look at Gerkida, I look at other websites, and I'm like, is it slow news day or something? There's no other football news to report that you have to say, oh my God, he hasn't been included. The 18-year-old. If he was 28, yeah, and he was a seasoned pro, I'd say, all right, well, why has he been left out? What's going on here? Is he being phased out? But he's 18. He's 18. And for him to be called up for the national... In fact, to be honest, let's flip it. For him not to be called up to the national team and for it to be such a massive deal to people just shows you how much he has developed, how much he's kicked on, and how much potential there is in this lad. Surely that's a backhanded compliment, no?
Yeah, most definitely, ρε φίλε. Σίγουρα. Αλλά είπα σου ξανά, στο τέλος της ημέρας, επειδή τυχαίνει να έχουμε και άλλα μωρά από τις ακαδημίες μας που θέλουν να βγουν, τούτα τα πράγματα που ισχύουν για Loizou ισχύουν και για όλους τους άλλους. Ότι gradually να βγουν και άλλα μωρά, να βγουν και άλλα μπορεί να μένουν στη θέση του Loizou, επειδή πράγματι ο Loizou he has a God-sent talent. Okay, this is what makes Loizou different. He's left-footed, he's young, he's skillful in that sense, but he has to work. He has to work more, you know. And one other thing that I wanted to mention, and it's something that Gunther told us when we had him on the show, or you had him on the show, Timbaud, who is an agent for players now. He says, don't underestimate the fact that a lot of games in the past 2 years were played without fans on the stands. And that, even though it's nice to see fans on the stands, that can put a lot of pressure on a lot of youngsters, especially. So that's another factor. Okay, maybe the amount of fans on the stands aren't the ones that used to be few years back ago, but still, when you're a supporter of a team like Omonia and things are not going well, sometimes the stadium is not a very pleasant place for you to be at. And as I mentioned, it's
especially if you're on the wing. If you're a winger and you're on that bloody touchline, you got the fans literally behind you.
Ναι, ακριβώς. So, για να μην επαναλαμβάνω τον εαυτό μου, ρε φίλε, γενικά, he's an asset for the team, and so are the other youngsters as well. Θέλει πολλά ειδική διαχείριση τούτον το πράγμα που συμβαίνει με τους παίχτες της Ακαδημίας και τους νεαρούς που φκαίνουν πάνω. I made an analogy. I don't know if you managed to watch till the end the pod we did with Chris the game. I said, you know, it's like, I don't know, I've got my daughter who is, I don't know, στο σχολείο, and she's a really good student in the junior school. I make dreams about her being a rocket scientist in NASA. You know, it's like watching a game, and because we played really well the first 5 minutes, we're like, oh, we're going to beat everyone 5-0. No, it's the beginning. It's just the beginning. This is the beginning of Loizou's career. And we should all try to protect him and show the love, the support, and the care as fans, and protect Loizou rather than, you know, just να το βάλουμε έξω στο επίκεντρο, ας πούμε. Okay, his talent cannot be ignored, but at the same time, his grace period and his honeymoon period is finished, and now sometimes maybe we have to be a little bit more strict and treat him as a grown-up, not a kid. Still protect him in a sense, but okay, this is the world of football. This is where the last year was the exception to the rule, but now this is how it is. And he has. I sent you a message and I told you maybe he has to start over again from the beginning, you know, and say, okay, τώρα ξεκινώ, τώρα πρέπει να ξαναποδείξω, να κάνω, να καθαρίσει ο νου μου. With a new manager, maybe something different is expected from him. Maybe next season he won't be with us. Maybe he will, and someone else is going to help him. Maybe they'll change position. Maybe he won't play as often, but it's not the end of the world. It's just the beginning of his career. So he has to suck up all of these experiences, whether good or bad, pleasant or unpleasant, to help build his character, because he's got the talent. The practice and training.
Uh-oh. Here we go. Here we go. Another phone call.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So training can improve certain weaknesses of his game, but stuff that's happening around him can help him build his character and become a stronger χαρακτήρας για να μπορεί να αντέξει τούτην την πίεση και τα expectations.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's not his fault that someone
absolutely
close to 3 million.
More. Yep. 100%. Agree with everything you just said there. Robots Roy. Oh, well, I can't complain because my internet sometimes fucks up, but will be the end of his career if he goes there. Goes where? If he goes where? Don't go there. Yeah, look, as Roy said, the lad is an adult now. The lad needs to use his experiences and everything that he's gone through to help him build the foundations, or should I say continue building on the foundations that have been set for him. We had a head coach that really, really believed in him, hence the amount of games that he played. We got a new head coach that has started him in a key game. So yeah, Robot Roy, yeah. So yeah, the groundwork is there. And listen, every person has an ego. Everyone, especially young males. A lot of you lot with high testosterone levels, it's all about your egos, isn't it? Your Instagrams and going to rumors to take the piss out of Chris. It's all about egos, man. What car you drive. And listen, I'm not saying the lad is like that, but he's still a teenager, man. He's still a teenager and he hasn't lived his life. He hasn't had that street experience. You know, he hasn't had a life experience. And these disappointments can go either way. They could either destroy a person's confidence and morale, or it could be the motivation needed to work harder, to push harder, and to perform better. Now, as I said before, he hasn't been great this season, but who has? Who's been great for us this season? Which teenager can you say has been in and out of the team, or should I say has been playing regular football? Because I think only Gaguli has played more games than Loizou in the last 2 seasons, including this, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, do we have to look at ourselves and say, look, it's an exciting prospect. He's a fantastic little player. But at the same time, we need to, you know, just rein it in a little bit. Let him live his life. If he wants to go out and do all these things, just let him. We know he's not going to go off the rails. We know he's not that kind of person. We know that he's got a good family behind him that are going to advise him. They're going to prevent him from, you know, going into the wilderness. We know it. And it's a Cypriot culture. Listen, like, living in the UK, I see so many different things. And I've seen different things. I'm not even going to go into it. But I see how some youngsters behave and how they behaved back in the day. And Cyprus is a completely different culture. Completely different. It's very family oriented. You know, everyone looks after each other. And when you see a youngster going off the rails, best believe if it ain't his parents, it's going to be his brother, it's going to be his relatives, it's going to be his friends, it's going to be his friends' parents. They're going to help sort it out, right? More often than not. So I think, you know, cut the lad some slack. I was saying a lot of things in the past, how I felt about the lad. But to be honest, that was me thinking of it as a person who wants the best out of the player, you know, who wants to see the best for him. Because no doubt he's a good kid. I haven't heard anyone say anything bad about the kid in terms of his personality, in terms of anything. So why should we get on his back because he's had a few bad games? Why? And we should blame ourselves for this, myself included, because we raised that bar and we saw him play and we thought, well, you know, we'll pin our hopes on him. So that when the performances ain't great, oh shit, oh fuck. Nah, it's not like that. It's not that. And do you know what? I'm telling you this for now. With this new manager, we're going to see a completely different Loizou next season. I'm telling you. Because I can see this lad stepping up. I can see him in the summer hitting the gym, hitting the weights, bulking up like Guggle did. I can see him improving. I can see it happening. That kid is going to, I'm telling you, that kid is going to be on that training pitch. He'll be the first one there and he'll be the last one out. And he'll be working his balls off. And next season, we're going to come back to this particular podcast where I said all these things. And you're going to say, you're right. You're right. Even if he's in an Omonia play next season. If he goes to Belgium, this is how he's going to apply himself. Now, I'm going to switch gears a little bit. Okay, two things I'm going to mention. As you know, Dimitri said earlier, we should be pleased for Humble getting called up to the national team. He deserves it, as far as I'm concerned. The lad is a top player, very good player. But again, we can't, you know, elevate him like we did with Loizou last season. Yeah, it's great to be excited, and we know how talented he is. And he ran the show against IL, middle of the park, absolutely ran the show. But this kid, right? And see, this is the difference, right? Loizou came from Omonia's academy, right? Humble was at Arsenal's academy. I'm sure a lot of you know this. He was at Arsenal's academy. So he was at a top elite level academy from young. So when he was younger, I can't remember how old he was when he was in Arsenal's academy. I was 14, 12, I don't know, right? He was learning elite level football at that age. So he's come to Omonia and he must be 2 or 3 years ahead of people in his age group. He must be. And this isn't a knock on his colleagues or his teammates. But when you come from an academy like Arsenal's, you could tell the difference. Yeah? You could tell the difference. So it was a long time coming, to be fair. But he's got his opportunity and he's making the most of it. He's taking it with both hands. And good luck to him. The second thing I will say, he's been called up to the national team. I feel sorry for the boy. And I'll tell you for why. He only joined Sporting Kansas last month. He's played, 3 games? Started 2, I think started 1 actually, and came off the bench twice, if I'm not mistaken. 3 games I think he's played, right? He's just settled in America. He's just starting to settle in America. And then he gets called up to the national team. So he's going to have to fly fucking 8 hours, or however long it is to take from Cyprus to America, America to Cyprus, to then go to Estonia and then go back to America. Has he even got an apartment yet? Is he still staying in a hotel? Like, no one knows this. And I'll tell you what, I've spoken to a few Sporting Kansas fans, and they're a little bit disappointed that he's being called up because they would want him there just to give him more time to settle. Why are you calling him up to a fucking Nations League thing as well? Nations League. Who gives a fuck? Sorry for my language, but who cares about the Nations League? Who does? So again, these are some strange decisions being made by the powers that be. But anyway, it is what it is. We've rambled on for close to 40 minutes. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I appreciate your comments. As I said before, like, subscribe, tell your NOUNA, etc., etc. Tune in for the next show, which I think is going to be tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow's Saturday, isn't it? We've got IL, if I'm not mistaken. No, Saturday. Tomorrow's Saturday. I don't know. Tomorrow's Saturday. We're playing Sunday. Is it Sunday or Saturday? I don't know. I think it's tomorrow. This is going to become a meme, isn't it? Today, tomorrow, I don't know. What the fuck? But yeah, we're going to be doing a review show straight after the game. So yeah. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for contributing. We'll be back very, very soon. So until next time, be nice. If you see Loizou on the street, shake his hand. Say to him, don't worry. You'll be back, son. You'll be back. Top player. Ade. Bamishilakamu.